Fresh and clean fragrances. Sometimes it's all you really need, and some people, that's all they really want. It's easygoing, smells great to those around you. They work for everything. It's never a bad time to smell fresh and clean. I mean, let's be honest here. And in this video, I'm bringing you what I believe are the 10 best choices currently in my rotation, because some are newer to the collection, hence the reason we're revamping this video and the topic in the first place, and some that I just need to go back to because it's time. Let's discuss them. Stay tuned. Starting with one that's newer to the collection that gives off the Elysium Parfum Cologne type of vibe, that being Hugo Reversed from Hugo Boss. This stuff is a rack store darling in my opinion, because you can get it for cheap. Yeah, you can get it online pretty damn cheap too, but 25 bucks when you come across these in the rack stores for a 75 ml. It's not winning any performance awards, but boy, when it comes to just enjoyability of scent, it could win some awards for that. This stuff smells freaking incredible. This is a beautiful, beautiful grapefruit vetiver type of fragrance. Very bright, uplifting, zesty type of grapefruit. Not too sharp, but there's a little bit of an edge to it. It's super inviting. It's super easy to wear and like. Fresh and clean at its finest right here. This is a great alternative, especially for the money. If you like or have tried Elysium Parfum Cologne, the blue bottle from Roger Parfums, I would relate this closest to that version of Elysium. Obviously, this doesn't have near as much going for it as that much more expensive, much more complex fragrance. But for 25, under $30, depending on where you get it, you can get a 4.2 ounce in that $30 range from discounters online, from what I understand, and you just can't go wrong. Even if you stumble across this one for 20 to 25 bucks at a rack store, I think it's absolutely worthy of rolling the dice, because for sub $30, in my opinion, this is one of the best fresh and clean fragrances out there currently on the market. I'm a little late to the game on this one, I understand, but glad to have it now, because in my opinion, it's one of the best cheap freshies out there right now. It's Hugo Reversed from Hugo Boss. With all that talk of Invictus Aqua being discontinued, it's nice to have come across a newer release that's on the affordable side and is a just stellar alternative for the now newly discontinued Invictus Aqua 2018, that being Halloween Man Hero from Jesus del Pozo. I did a full review on this one not that long ago. This stuff is a great replacement. It smells like Invictus Aqua. It just does. A little different. There's subtle differences, don't get me wrong, whereas I find this a little bit more on the soapy side because of the lavender versus the violet floral powdery nature of Invictus Aqua. I feel like that's the only real major differences, and it's really not that major, honestly. Performance is about what and what. It's like a 6 to 7 hour fragrance on my skin. Solid for a super fresh aquatic fragrance like this, and this stuff just works, man. Invictus Aqua is my favorite fragrance in my collection, so finding a just wonderful alternative for it now that bottles are getting harder to find and prices are starting to go up, this just does the trick. This is, in my opinion, the best alternative for the 2018 to present version. Obviously, with 2016, I would probably still want to go the route. What's closer to that scent profile would be Mont Blanc Legend Spirit, the white bottle of the Legend line. That's a great alternative, but this has more of what the 2018 formula is about. It has more of that bubblegummy type of smell, not quite as synthetic, more on the marine aquatic side of things versus just sharp grapefruit. I think this does a great job of replacing that, but most importantly, it's a wonderful, super fresh and clean fragrance. There is not a bad time to wear this fragrance. It will work in every situation. It will pull a compliment from time to time. Some, it will pull more compliments than it will for others. You may never get a compliment. There's no guarantees on stuff like that. But with a fragrance DNA like this, a scent profile like Halloween Man Hero, the probability is definitely a bit higher than with some other fragrances. Smells great, performs solid. You can get it in the $40 or lower range for a 4.2 ounce bottle like this, and I think it's a bargain at that price point. One of the best fresh and clean fragrances on the market right now, in my opinion. It's Halloween Man Hero. Bright citrus, herbal tea, juicy fig, fresh and clean with character. This being the first niche fragrance in the video, Oolong Cha from Nishante. Those of you that have smelled this fragrance, you know why it's on here. This is a stunner when it comes to fresh, citrus, watery, green, herbal, and fruity, because it's got a little bit of all of that going on. Very watery. This tea note adds this herbal quality while the nutmeg kind of supports it and makes for this fresh green, spicy type of accord going in the heart, in the core of this fragrance. While there's a bunch of bright citrus up top, there's some fruitiness from a lychee note that's in here. This is a very distinguishable, specific fruity note that doesn't overtake the fragrance. It blends very well with the citruses here, and it never becomes too much of anything. The juicy fig doesn't make it too much of a fig fragrance, because I know some people aren't fans of fig the way I am. But to have a tea fig fragrance with loads of citrus and distinguishable fruity notes, it's different. It's very different, and the way the balance here is done is just, it's magnifique. I can't imagine anybody not enjoying this. Perfectly unisex. Anybody can wear this. The quality is there. It definitely does not smell like some cheap fragrance, some cheap citrus fragrance. It does have a little bit of complexity here without being, you know, the most interesting, super complex, layered fragrance or anything like that. But it does change. It does have some different appeals to offer to it as you go from opening blast into the heart, into the dry down. It does change a bit. It's herbal, it's zesty, it's bright, it's fresh, it's watery, it's a little spicy. It's kind of got a lot going for it here without being too much of anything. Gorgeous fragrance, solid performer. For a citrus fragrance like this, something super fresh and clean, yeah, it's pricey. But when you look at it from a luxury fragrance standpoint, it's actually quite affordable, because you can get this in the 105 range, I believe, from Kingdom Fragrances. Was what I paid for this from Kingdom Fragrances for a 50 ml. You don't need a lot of sprays. You don't have to go super heavy with this one to get the performance you desire, unless you just want to bathe in it. This is one that 5 to 7 sprays is plenty. It's an 8-hour fragrance on my skin easily, and for such a bright, airy, and enjoyable fresh and clean scent profile, that's stunning performance. One of the best out there. Oolong Cha from Nishante. One that you just don't hear too many people talk about anymore. It's kind of flying under the radar these days. It's still as good of a fresh green fragrance as they come. It's got a little bit of a soapy appeal because of the iris that's found here. It's got this lovely green petitgrain note that adds a fresh green quality to go with the citruses. It is Javanchi Gentleman Cologne. Granite, a superstar in the high heat. Anytime you want to smell fresh and clean, this is one of the best designer ways to accomplish that. It doesn't smell cheap and synthetic. There is a nice character here, that petitgrain. I'm a big fan of petitgrain notes. This fresh green quality that a good petitgrain note, a well-balanced petitgrain fragrance oil can bring to a fragrance, it just works. This kind of reminds me of Mason Francis Kirkjohn Aqua Celestia Forte, another petitgrain forward, fresh green fragrance that admittedly not as clean of a scent profile as this. That's got a bit more green and mint type of stuff going for it, whereas this is a little bit more soapy, a little bit more on the fresh and clean side, which is why it's perfect. It's a perfect choice for this video topic. If you haven't tried this one, I'm not sure how easy it is to get out and sample it, where you can find testers. I'm not sure of any of that. But what I can tell you is, if you have the opportunity and you like fresh fragrances and you want one that's a little bit different, it's still soapy and fresh and citrus, but that petitgrain note, I'm telling you, it gives it a different level of greenery and fresh character that's not found if it wasn't there. I think this would be a bit more of a boring fragrance if not for that petitgrain note. Can you tell I enjoy that note based on what I'm saying? Solid performer too. Easy 6 hours. A little bit better if you spray your clothes, but if you can get your hands on Javanchi Gentleman Cologne, it's gotten to the point to where it's flying under the radar, and it's underrated in 2022. Get your nose on this one. It's a little different, but very, very good different. At the recording of this, this is a current darling in the community. I've seen people say best of the house, because if you're into clean musk, I could see you saying that. I still think Rosé is the highlight of the house, my personal opinion. I think that is just beyond stunning, but there's no denying that Zaharoff Signature Royale X is a stunning, bright, zesty, fresh fragrance with an edge, like my buddy Justin Copeland aptly dubbed it. Fresh with an edge. That's a good way to look at it. It's very fresh, clean, soapy, out the shower type of smell, clean body type of scent, but musky. Clean musky, a lot of musk, and a little bit of like a worn-in leathery type of accord. There's a little touch of oud that adds that hint of animalic muskiness to the heavy musk that's used here. There's a little bit of juniper berry that adds to that cleanliness and the bright opening that this fragrance has. It's stunning. It's a 27% extrait. It's a pure parfum. This stuff just sticks to the skin. It's not an overwhelming projection, but it's got a strong trail because it's such a high oil concentration. It does tend to linger. So this one, the magic is in the trail. For me, it doesn't scream off of my skin. After 2 hours, it settles down greatly, but it has a thick, dense trail. That's what's going to grab somebody when you walk by. It definitely does its job. There was a very specific story being told with this scent profile, but honestly, I think it's so well done. It's a great everyday fresh and clean fragrance, especially if you like clean musk. Yes, there's a little bit of a dirty animalic side to it, but overall, it's zesty, bright, and clean. It's a very, very high quality fragrance. Fits the Zaharoff house perfectly for a musky fragrance. There are, at the recording of this, there's a small amount of stock left. Link down below with 10% off if you're interested in getting your hands on it. I believe there are samples available now as well if you want to try it, but it's an olfactive treat. If you are into musks, it's a must try. If you like clean musk, I'm telling you, it's a must try. Zesty, bright, and fresh with an edge is Zaharoff Signature Royale X. Fresh and green just kind of does it for me, and this fragrance is all of that. It is fresh, it is clean, it's soapy, and it's very green. That being the new Polo Cologne Intense Eau de Parfum from Ralph Lauren, a 2021 release that I did buy on launch day, and I don't regret it at all. I know it came out to mixed reviews because it's a safe, fresh, and clean fragrance. I get that. Not everybody was hoping for that. Honestly, it is the modern take. It is today's Polo green. So I get it. The tobacco's not there. That piney green feel, you still get a touch of it, but it's more fresh and soapy. There's ambroxan, there's violet leaf. If I remember correctly, there's a little bit of cypress adding that green edge. It's very, very bright. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's extremely fresh, and it's not going to win any awards in performance. This is one of those fragrances that's where the letdown was, because it's called Polo Cologne Intense Eau de Parfum. Everybody was expecting some serious performance. Now, admittedly, I get okay performance, 5 to 6 hour fragrance. I'm cool with that, but most people were hoping for 8 hours or better. I know I personally, with a name like that, I was expecting it to last 7, 8 hours easily, but with 5 to 6, I'm still okay with that. Not a challenging fragrance. Hell, it would not be in this video if it was. Super bright, fresh, clean, soapy shower gel type of smell. The ambroxan adds that shower gel appeal. Really makes this a fresh and clean fragrance, but much more on the green side than the bright citrus side. You know, it's soapy, but it's not too soapy. So it adds the fresh and clean appeal, but has a nice green tone, and that's what I like about it. I really enjoy a good fresh green fragrance. And my opinion, this is a very good fresh green fragrance. More people need to give it a chance, and I think if you try it and you go into it with the expectations of this is going to be a bright, fresh and green fragrance, you'll probably end up enjoying it quite a bit, because I definitely enjoy it quite a bit. Check this one out this year if you haven't. Polo Cologne Intense Eau de Parfum. Much more fresh, clean, soapy than the Eau de Toilette this is flankered from. That's a darling of a fragrance. Beautiful grapefruit, but it's more floral and leather. A little bit more of an elegant appeal, whereas I find this more of an everyday fresh and clean wear. That being Lacoste White, the L1212. This is the EDP, the Eau de Parfum flanker. There's a finger lime note that adds this super bright citrus note that's just enjoyable. It's got a little bit of an ambergris smell. It'll remind you a little bit of the YSL Y-line meets Coach for Men Blue, and a little bit of the original Lacoste White. It's kind of a combination of all three. Performs really well, does project pretty heavy, but most importantly, it's just fresh and clean. If you're looking for a fresh, clean fragrance, this is the one. Honestly, I don't get a ton of similarity to the original EDT. That, like I said before, where this one still has a bright citrus opening, it's not so much on grapefruit like the original. And the original had more of a white floral tone with a soft leather, had more of an elegant appeal. That was a little bit more of a dressy daily wear fragrance, maybe much more office appropriate, if you will, where fresh and clean definitely works office appropriate, don't get me wrong, but this one's much more easygoing, laid back, and casual because it's just a fresh and clean appeal. Like I said, finger lime has a strong ambergris, sage, apple type of smell. That's why it reminds me a little bit of the YSL line, meets that bright lime, absinthe, juicy fruit type of smell. Just bright opening of Coach Blue with the heart and dry down of the original. You know, it's a solid fragrance. It really is. It performs well. While not a mind-blowingly complex scent, obviously, based on everything I just had to say. I did do a full review on this one a while back. I think if you can get your nose on it and sample it, you may enjoy it. If you're looking for something closer to the original, just a better performer, you will be disappointed. But if you're looking for something much more easygoing that removes that floral tone that the original had, then you will enjoy this one greatly. Get your nose on it if you can. Lacoste White, EDP. So speaking of the YSL line, it doesn't get any fresher and cleaner than the original in my opinion. YSL the EDT, one of my personal favorite fragrances in my collection, possibly my favorite blue fragrance, which is a huge statement coming from me. The aldehydes just add this bright, crisp nature to an already bright, fresh fragrance. It's clean without being too soapy shower gel. It does have a little bit of a shower gel appeal. Like I said, it's an ambergris bomb, synthetic ambergris. It has that salty shower gel, aquatic type of tone. The sage and apple smell, that sage kind of almost bubblegummy appeal, but it's toned back. It's not too heavy here. It blends well with that crisp green apple note. Beautiful citrus. This is lovely. The aldehydes is really what does it for me. It adds such a bright aspect. So much freshness added to a citrus smell in this opening. It will really captivate somebody. This can grab some attention. It has many times in my experience. Solid performer without being a beast. If you're looking for a beast, get the Eau de Parfum, but that is much more sweet and cloying and dense. You lose a lot of the freshness that's available in the original EDT. If you're looking for the freshest and cleanest of the Y line, this is more so than even its own Eau Fraiche flanker. That's a warm lemon ginger scent, whereas this is all about bright citrus and aldehyde. Super fresh, super clean, super easy to like. Is YSL the Eau de Toilette. So these last two are the fragrances in the intro I was saying, some that are just so good I just haven't spent time with in recent memory, and it's time to go back to them and give them some love this year in 2022, starting with Dior Homme Cologne. You know, I've heard rumblings of this thing getting discontinued. I can't confirm. I haven't spoken to anybody with Dior or anything like that, but I have heard rumblings about it in the community. Man, that lemonade smell. It's a grapefruit blossom, vetiver, and I want to say neroli. If I remember correctly, it's only like a 3-note breakdown. But it smells like ice cold lemonade. It's always been touted that way. It's very true. Not a strong performer like a 4-hour fragrance, 3 to 4 hours, and you need to reapply. But I'll be damned if this isn't one of the most bright, fresh, clean, enjoyable, juicy citrus fragrances ever created. Been replicated to death. There's a ton of fragrances that have that lemonade smell. While this wasn't the originator of it, I believe Chanel Allure Sport Cologne Sport was the originator of this profile. This isn't exactly like that. That's got a lot more going for it. That's a more complex fragrance. This is a much more simplified fragrance profile that just smells like lemonade. It just smells great. Smells great on everybody. Never a bad time. Dumb reach type of stuff. Leave it on the corner of your dresser. You can damn near bathe in it. You're not going to offend anybody. Super safe, super fresh, super damn clean. Dior Homme Cologne. It's great. It's sad if it is indeed getting discontinued. Like I said, I'm not confirming anything. I've just heard rumblings. Sad if so, but we're at the point to where, I don't really see anybody post too much about this anymore on social media. I don't really hear anything about it. So it's kind of not surprising with Dior having changed a lot of direction, changing perfumers and so on. I'm not surprised that they're revamping more fragrances, discontinuing, reformulating. It's that time, I guess, for them. Every so many years they do something like this, and it's sad if this is indeed going on the chopping block. But get them while you can. If you've smelled it, if you like how it smells, and you can find it for a decent price, it is a damn good fragrance. One of the best fresh and clean fragrances ever made is Dior Homme Cologne. And finally, with so many wonderful blue fragrances coming out on a regular basis, I love my blue fragrances. They have my heart. I love the ease of use, ease of wear, and the versatility and the likability. One of the greatest ever made, often imitated, often replicated, but never truly duplicated, is Versace Dillon Blue. I haven't wore this one in a while. It's time for old TLTG to revisit. It's still so damn good. It's aquatic, it's ambroxan, it's a little smoky. It's got a very rich opening that admittedly, those of you that have been following me a long time, you already know this. I didn't like this fragrance at first. I thought the opening was too rich and off-putting, and I did not enjoy it. I used to have one of those little bitty dabber bottles that came in the little gift sets you could get from Marshall's, and I had put it in a little sample glass atomizer so I could actually spray it, and it took me a few wearings. It had to grow on me. Now, it's one of my favorite, most versatile fragrances ever made. I love this stuff. I swear, I'm not going to say swear by it, but it's an easy recommendation. It's been recommended to death over the years. I understand. It's one of the true hype beasts in the fragrance community for men's fragrances. From a designer standpoint, when it comes to mass appealing fragrances, it's very few are hyped as much as this one. It's in the realm of your Bleu de Chanel's and your Dior Sauvages as far as hype for versatile blue fragrances. It has the shower gel appeal, though I've always thought this has a little bit more character than a Dior Sauvage and a Bleu de Chanel. More so than just your average fresh fragrance. The incense mixed with the ambroxan, it's sweet, it's aquatic, but not too sweet, not too aquatic. It's smoky, but not heavily smoky or very dark. It's got a little bit of a peppery spice going, but not a real spicy fragrance. You see where I'm going. It's got a little bit of everything kind of going for it here. Pretty well balanced overall, and one that's easy to go anosmic to. You'll think it's just a weak performer. Oh, I got a new bottle. They've reformulated it to death. And then 8 hours into it, somebody might ask you what you're wearing or smell you and say, oh, you smell nice. And you're like, oh, it's just anosmia. I went nose blind to it. That happens a lot with this fragrance. I notoriously go nose blind to this one too. I used to think when I first got it, I was like, man, they're really weak in this shit, huh? And then that's what happened to me. Hours and hours into it, into my workday, somebody paid me a compliment, and okay, it's just anosmia. So those around you can smell you, even though you may not after a few hours. There's no need to bathe yourself in this. There's no need to heavily over and respray 2 or 3 hours in. Trust me, people can smell you. The stuff still performs great. It's still an awesome fragrance, and it's time for me to revisit and spend some more time with one of the best fresh and clean blue fragrances out there in Versace Dillon Blue. Well, that's the 10 that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What in this video do you have in your collection? Or what in this video would you like to add to your collection? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm very curious to see what you guys think. And I will say, if you get your hands on any of these and you give them a spray now, there's a real good chance you might thank me later, because these are some of the best when it comes to fresh and clean. My opinion, of course. Have a good one, guys.